podcast is brought to you as a joint initiative between Anubhav, the National Institute of Social Defense, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, and Media for Community Foundation. Producers, CovaiCare Retirement Communities. If you are a senior citizen and need help, contact our Elder Helpline 14567 between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. We promise to help you lead a better life. I repeat, 14567 between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m.
Namaskar, Vanakkam, and greetings from Koivani. It's our proud privilege to welcome Dr. Prashanth Jayakumar to share with us his views on the importance of science in all spheres of our daily life. Dr. Prashanth is the Professor of Physics, Graduate Advisor, Department of Physics and Astronomy, California State University, Long Beach. He was conferred with the doctorate for his thesis, Electroweak Probes of Dense Quark Matter. Dr. Prashanth has been the recipient of several awards and research grants, the latest being the Single Investigator Award from the National Science Foundation to the tune of $250,000 US. He has to his credit nearly 100 publications and has delivered more than 60 talks. He is also a member of several international steering committees. Over to Dr. Prashanth.
Hello, friends. Today, I'd like to share my thoughts on the importance of science in our personal lives as well as our communities. My name is Prashanth Jayakumar. I have a doctorate in physics. Currently, I'm a physicist at California State University at Long Beach, where I conduct research on stars, gravity waves, and other astrophysical phenomena, while also teaching a large number of students. What is science? Science is not the same as technology or engineering or medicine, although it underpins all of these. Rather, science is a philosophy and a worldview that the natural phenomena around us, like the motion of planets around the sun, or any other star for that matter, or the weather, and even our own health, can be better understood by empirical tests and a logical chain of reasoning based on mathematics without recourse to lazy speculations, blind faith, esoteric half-truths, or religious polemics. Through the pages of history, there is evidence that societies progressed and were at the forefront of discovery when they elevated scientific thought and practices above religious dogma. And they gradually regressed when they did the opposite. For example, many of the stars in the sky have Arabic names, originating from observations made over 1,000 years ago by astronomers in the Arabian Peninsula, who led the world at that time in scientific thought. In modern times, though, the 5 most powerful telescopes are all located or operated by institutions in the United States, Europe, and Japan, the current geographical centers of scientific excellence. It is a similar story with medical practice and technological inventions. So, history tells us in no uncertain terms of the correlations between economic prosperity and the advance of science. However, science is not just a necessity for practical means and ends. There is a famous exchange between an American physicist, Professor Robert Wilson, the chief architect and scientific director of Fermilab, and Senator Pastore, which I will paraphrase for you. When Fermilab, now one of the leading particle physics accelerators in the world, was first being commissioned, Senator Pastore asked Professor Wilson if Fermilab had any practical use for national security. None at all, replied Professor Wilson. Anything that will make the US more competitive with the USSR? Queried Senator Pastore. Again, nothing, said Professor Wilson. This frustrated Senator Pastore. He cited the studies that millions of people in the US were living with hunger in rat ridden housing, and for whom this $250 million particle accelerator would seemingly, so he was being told, make no difference. Why spend so much taxpayer money on something as esoteric as particle physics? To which Professor Wilson answered, it is important to ensure that people can live, yes, but it is equally important to get on with the things that make life worth living. And fortunately, it is possible to do both with science. Scientific knowledge may or may not have anything to do directly with defending our country, but it has everything to do with making it worth defending. I was deeply moved when I read this exchange. And because it is supported by historical and even current socioeconomic conditions around the world, I believe that every well meaning and informed citizen of a nation should understand the value of science. It is a long term view that benefits society and the human condition through the synergy of public trust, government sponsored research, and the private sector's motives for profit that drive rapid innovation. It is like planting a tree. You know the story about the master who asked his servant to plant a tree in the afternoon? Oh, I am too busy to do it then, said the servant. Besides, there is no hurry for it. It will take 20 years to grow, said the servant. In that case, plant it this morning, replied the wise master. You are probably listening to this podcast on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. All these devices use semiconductor chips. In turn, these chips are designed and function on the basis of fundamental principles of quantum mechanics and electromagnetism, discovered over 100 years ago. No one could have predicted then the amazing technology we have today, thanks to basic science. Similarly, we need to support and inform ourselves of basic science today, so our children and grandchildren can enjoy the benefits in their own lifetimes. Finally, I want to say a few words about why science is important to me. After all, not everyone is altruistic and concerned about unpredictable benefits for their fellow human being 50 years down the road. Would you be willing to not use your AC in the hot summer so Earth can be half a degree cooler in 20 years' time? Maybe, maybe not. So, here's a more personal reason to consider paying attention to science. When I decided to study physics, the thought of a profession or career or money did not even enter my mind. I took it up because I was fascinated by an idea that I could use my brain to figure out nature's puzzles and understand many things with a few simpler principles. Once the discovery is made, others can follow, not based on blind faith, but based on their own experiments and existing, written, and verified and published knowledge. I like reducing complexity to simplicity, and I also like how simplicity can give rise to complexity. It seemed a fun and interesting pursuit, and it just so happened to be called physics. So I stuck to it, and here I am. It was a lot of hard work, but overall, it was a lot of fun. That I get paid for it, it is a bonus. It is not an incentive. Thank you for listening, and I hope you too will go plant your own tree for science somewhere. If you don't have time for it tomorrow, do it today. It will be worth it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prashanth, for a lucid talk on a complex subject by reducing complexity to simplicity. I'm sure our listeners would be motivated to plant a tree for science, not tomorrow, but today. Thanking Dr. Prashanth once again on behalf of Koivani. This is Revati Bhaskar signing off. Have a good day.
இந்த வலையொலி அனுபவ் தேசிய சமூக பாதுகாப்பு நிறுவனம், சமூக நீதி மற்றும் அதிகாரமளித்தல் அமைச்சகம் மற்றும் மீடியா ஃபார் கம்யூனிட்டி ஃபவுண்டேஷன் இவர்களின் கூட்டு முயற்சியாக உங்களிடம் கொண்டு வரப்பட்டது. திட்ட ஒருங்கிணைப்பாளர்கள் டாக்டர் ஆர் ஸ்ரீதர் மற்றும் ஆலோக் வர்மா அவர்கள். வானொலி ஒருங்கிணைப்பாளர்கள் பூஜா முராடா, கௌசல்யா மற்றும் சாய் சுதா அவர்கள். தயாரிப்பாளர்கள் கோவை வாணி, CovaiCare ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட் கம்யூனிட்டிஸ். நீங்கள் ஒரு மூத்த குடிமகனாக இருந்து உதவி தேவைப்பட்டால் எங்கள் எல்டர்லைன் ஹெல்ப் லைனை தொலைபேசி எண் 145667 இல் தொடர்பு கொள்ளவும். காலை 8 மணி முதல் இரவு 8 மணி வரை. ஒரு சிறந்த வாழ்க்கையை வாழ உங்களுக்கு உதவி செய்ய நாங்கள் உறுதி அளிக்கிறோம். மறுபடியும் கேளுங்கள். தொலைபேசி எண் 145667 காலை 8 மணி முதல் இரவு 8 மணி வரை.
That's all for today, folks. Be safe. Fight COVID with 2 vaccinations. Wear a mask when you go out. Keep safe distance. Observe proper hygiene. We must win. We will win. Thank you.